Salute, salute, salute. What's happening, man? Nocturnal Thoughts with a real quick video that I'm gonna get out the way. Today's topic, Devin Haney, the Dream versus the Rougarou. Regis Prograis, man. I've been seeing Devin Haney promoting this fight, going on different platforms, doing interviews, talking about him and Shakur, him and Tank, his fight against Lomachenko, his fight against Kambosos, just him personally try to get more fans to be introduced to who Devin Haney is. This is somewhat like a very tough homecoming showcase fight, but it's against a real dangerous opponent and a champion. It's kind of an odd fight in certain ways because it's like Devin Haney is younger, but he's more experienced and he's the A side, versus Regis is a two-time champion in the weight class that they fighting in. You know what I'm saying? Did almost the same thing as Devin Haney as far as going to somebody else's backyard fighting Kambosos. You've seen him do the same thing and fought against Josh Taylor. Not necessarily in Josh Taylor's backyard, but more in his territory. And that was a close-ass fight that he just came up short in. Other than that, you've seen Regis Prograis be victorious in most of his fights with knockouts. You know what I'm saying? Even the Ivan Baranch catch on Trilla with that hellacious performance of rolling around on the ground after faking like you got hit with a low blow. Shame on you, Ivan Ratcatch. But anyway, still just a stylistic matchup of a, boxing virtuoso, somebody that's going to fight you from long range with a long jab and stick and move, pick off your shots, counter your shots, use his ring IQ to, keep you baffled and befuddled, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee type of a style, versus more of a fighter, brawler, a late starter, not a natural born boxer whatsoever. An athlete, an athletic person, and somebody that's born with natural power in both hands. Southpaw fighter, but kind of a domestic level style as far as he started late, and it shows in his style. He don't have every little trick, and he don't have a whole bag of tricks. He don't have a tool belt full with every single tools, but he got the basics, and he got them hammers. You know what I'm saying? And if he hit you, he catch you, he can hurt you. And he kind of, in my opinion, he kind of awkward and unorthodox too with his delivery. His punch system is not just the 1-2, 1-2-3, or the 2-1. His combinations sometimes they can be very creative, but Devin is very creative with just the jab alone. In and of itself, he can keep you baffled with different variations of the jab. So his arsenal, to me, is more long range. Mid range is a little different. If it get a little too close, he will, get in some hooks and some uppercuts. But mostly when it comes into the interior range, it's more of a clinch for Devin Haney. And that's the best shot for Regis Prograis, to me, that has success, is in the interior range. If he can, work the body and break down Devin Haney, because Devin Haney is going to usually be able to pick off most of your shots that you try to, detonate to his dome piece. He gonna slip it, he gonna parry it, he gonna catch and shoot, or he gonna just use his feet and not even be there to get hit. You know what I'm saying? So the best bet is to slip, dip, roll, work on angles, and then try to get to the body and break him down throughout the rounds, and then start to try to catch him and clip him up top with one of those wild overhand type punches. But if I was Regis Prograis, one fight I would look to for motivation would be Mayorga, the first fight between him and Vernon Forrest. Matter of fact, the second fight as well. I would look at those fights as motivation when you got a shorter fighter without the best footwork, without the best punch selection, without the best technical skills, versus somebody that's tall, lanky, long arms, great jab, good footwork, decent defense. I would watch those fights for motivation, but I would also study Devin Haney in his fights against Jojo Diaz, Jorge Linares, Lomachenko, and Kambosos, Alfredo Santiago. I would look at all his fights and do my due diligence and study my opponent so that I can have a game plan if I was Regis Prograis and not just come in there with a freestyle. I'm gonna make it up as I go and hopefully something will happen type of a thing. Like, you're gonna have a game plan and be prepared for Devin Haney at his best on his A game. You know, it's gonna be hard to catch him with a clean shot. If he's on his A game, most likely he gonna keep you at long range and try to just box your face in with the jab, different variations of the jab. Now, really, when it comes to this fight, I'm neutral. I don't have no dog in this fight. Let the best man win. But if I'm being totally honest, I'm pulling for Regis Prograis as an underdog and as just an older, married family guy. You know, people going back and forth who got it out the mud. I feel like in the boxing game, they both getting it out the mud in the boxing game. But in life itself, I think Regis Prograis has, you know, got it out the mud more in just life in general. And I feel like Devin Haney, I respect him, but I don't relate to him as much just because there's an age difference. He's younger, and I'm not listening to him do interviews. I can tell I'm listening to a young man, but he is, you know, under great tutelage with a great father in Bill Haney, who is very business savvy, street savvy, natural born hustler, charismatic, and a silver tongue. But it kind of always puts me in the mind frame of like Master P and Little Romeo. You know, like nobody looked at Little Romeo and took him seriously as a street rapper or a gangster rapper or a hip hop rapper when your family come from the streets and we see you come up with the silver spoon. It's kind of the same thing a little bit with Devin Haney. Like, we don't really buy the street tough guy act. We buy the boxing skills act. Like, you a boxer, there's no doubt about it. As far as him being a boxer, him having that type of a dog in him and that type of a heart and grit, that's undeniable. But I do feel like sometimes, you know, him being with his father, being somewhat like, I don't want to say protected, but just being raised with a father in a sport like boxing, you know, it's a shock to some people's system to see it in that translation. So it can get lost in translation. And some people take it and look at it like it's coming from hate, and they hating on the fact that it's a black man with a son, and most black people might grow up in broken homes. I don't really look at it like that, even though I understand and I can relate to broken homes. At the end of the day, him having a father helping him maneuver through this dirty ass business of boxing, that's the best thing about him. So that's the last thing that I'm gonna hate about him. You know, that's the best thing about win, lose, or draw. That's the most respectable thing that I see from Devin Haney and Bill Haney, is their friendship and their relationship and their father-son relationship. That's the most inspirational thing in and of itself. You dig what I'm saying? So there's no hate coming from me as far as hating a young black man with a black father, helping him maneuver through a sport like boxing is very impressive. But it also does have a little bit of a flip side where you see that he is somewhat protected. And in a sport like boxing, it's just that, like, to me, like, people compare it more to Gervonta Tank Davis growing up in Baltimore and having Calvin Ford. That's, to me, if you was to look at it from a hip hop thing, that's almost like Birdman and Lil Wayne, or Jermaine Dupri and Lil Bow Wow, versus, you know, Romeo and Devin Haney. Devin Haney and Bill Haney and Little Romeo and Master P. So it's kind of like that thing. It's like everybody got to have an OG to help them survive. Like it's hard to survive if you a little guy coming up in the world and you don't have no kind of protection around you. You know, most likely you're gonna get swallowed up by the life. But you got to have somebody that's gonna help and shield you and guide you and keep you underneath the wing and give you game and raise you, and you know what I'm saying. And then to see you develop into your own man. So Bill Haney, like you said, when Devin Haney was going to Australia to fight Kambosos and they wasn't gonna let Bill Haney go, but he was like, "I got you, Dad. I'm coming back with these belts." He said, "That's one of the times I recognize my son has become a man." And you can't do nothing but salute that. You know what I'm saying? Devin Haney is a young man that's very mature for his age and for his sport. He's miles ahead, you know what I'm saying, already undisputed, and you know, can be a champion in another weight division, and he wearing a crown. You got to respect it, period, point blank. But me personally, like, I don't care win, lose, or draw. I'm gonna still respect Devin Haney the same way. But if he loses, I think that'll be, I always said for me, it'll be better if Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Tank have already took a L against a tough fighter early in their career. I think like that'll make them better. It'll make them more like Canelo. When Canelo lost to Floyd Money Mayweather, I feel like that made him the better for the long run of his career. So I don't care if Devin Haney loses. I always thought it would make him better in my eyes if he lost in a tough fight and then he made a comeback and then he stayed on top. I would always be able to look at him with so much more respect to see how he handled the loss. And so I don't care about him being undefeated. Like Regis Prograis already took a loss. So I know he didn't took a loss, was a champion, and came back and became a champion again, and he want respect. People kind of sleeping on that fact. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if Gervonta Tank Davis goes undefeated. I feel like I want to see him in a tough fight. When he went to 140 and he fought Mario Barrios, I'm like, man, that's dope. I want to see you go fight Josh Taylor when Josh Taylor was really in his prime. And if he would have lost to Josh Taylor, and then he would have been, and Gervonta Tank Davis would have been able to put it back together and become a champion and conquer and keep going on to be successful, I'm going to salute that. Same thing for Shakur Stevenson with this fight against Del Santos. I think he's going to win. But I want to see Shakur Stevenson fight the toughest competition, and if he takes the L, I think that'll make him better earlier in his career. I'm not the one that has like all the champions that's undefeated. All of the champions that I like, most of them got at least one loss, if not multiple losses, and they become better because they come back stronger. So most likely the skills of Devin Haney, being a boxer and being, you know, a little bit more of a level above Regis Prograis, he should box his way to a victory. But if he get clipped and he get knocked down or knocked out, or if he get beat by Regis Prograis, he still get a proper salute from Nocturnal Thoughts. And I feel like he's so young, he'll still be able to put it back together, and it'll make him a better fighter in the future. But if he wins, as long as he keep doing what he's doing, taking tough fights and not really like, you know, dodging the toughest guys out there, I'm gonna still salute him and respect him. You know what I'm saying? And for Regis Prograis, I feel like I already seen him fight some of the toughest competition, because he went through a tournament and he fought against Josh Taylor when Josh Taylor was really a lot more dangerous. By the time he got to Teofimo Lopez, he had been through a lot of battles and wars already. But I would like to see Devin Haney fight Teofimo Lopez. I would like to see him fight Tank. I would like to see him fight Shakur, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, him fighting Regis Prograis, to me, honestly, is one of the most dangerous and respectable fights that's available at this current time. So let the best man win. And like I say, just a part of me really pulls for Regis Prograis, because in this situation, he the underdog. Imagine that. He older. He ain't. He ain't got the best foot movement. He got shorter arms. They kind of playing this fight like he the B-side, but you see him, the way he hold himself, Regis Prograis, man, I think he's just a straight shooter. and he a solid dude. I like the interviews I just seen with his wife. His wife tripped me out. She seemed like she is really authentic and original, and she just seemed like the type of person that don't take no bullshit. And Regis is just a straight dude, as far as he ain't bullshitting, he ain't playing, there ain't no games, but it ain't like, you know what I'm saying, street. It's just business, and he just all around, to me, a stand-up dude. So I would like to see him go out on top, in my opinion. But if he take a loss the right way in this fight, like if he just get out boxed, but he put forth that effort, he hold his head up high, and I salute it. Those are my thoughts. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Nocturnal Thoughts, man. Salute, salute, salute. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe.